win that. It's our good luck. Johnny Cash. All right, guys. Next question with Vinnie and Jenilee. Episode #21. Jennifer Card's already on it, rocking and rolling. That's what I love to see. I am a little late. I'm 6 minutes late, which for me is about 15 minutes early. I apologize. Jenilee made these greatest baked potato soup. Is that what we call it?
Loaded potato.
Loaded potato soup. It was absolutely phenomenal. So Jay, let's get raw. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm good.
A lot of energy?
Yeah.
Because I have more energy than anyone should ever have, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm also going to have a nice V8 Energy sponsor for the Tonight Show. Next question. Uh-oh. Are we good? I mean, I don't know what's happening here. All right, perfect. Next question.
Okay. Why would my 3-year-old dog suddenly... Well... Why would my 3-year-old dog suddenly become afraid of dogs bigger than her for no reason? Dogs that she played with previously, she is now afraid of. Nothing happened between the dogs either to cause this.
All right, so there's two things that happen here. Number one is we think there's nothing that happened, but it could have been the slightest thing, right? My dog could have been looking at another dog and a loud noise could have went off, right? So someone could have started a tract or whatever it was, and my dog got a little bit spooked. What the bigger thing is not what happened, it is how do we fix it? So what we want to do is we want to get our dog confident around other dogs again, which means I would go back to on leash rather than off leash around dogs in a situation where you could provide direction. Don't allow your dog to make their own decision. Hey, you come with me, sit down, come over this way down, and you create a better experience around other dogs on leash. Next question.
I have an incredibly submissive pup.
Okay. He's a squatter?
Okay. Who gets very anxious when people play and get rowdy around him. I think he's unsure of we're safe or if he should be defending us and which person to defend. He seems to be getting worse about it. What can we do to stop this from escalating?
So you need, so what happens here is we say we have a submissive pup who's defending us. Well, that means we have a dog who's in a terrible position because they don't understand what they should and shouldn't be doing. And why don't they understand it? Because I'm not here giving them enough direction. If you have a dog who doesn't know who they should, here's who your dog should protect. How many people your dog should protect? Absolutely zero. There's never a reason for it. Your dog is a pet. He is not a police dog. He's not a protection dog. The second your dog starts showing any protection, you should call a professional trainer. But meantime, you should immediately eliminate freedom by putting your dog into the kennel when guests come over so you don't have to worry about it, or putting him on leash and start training. But yeah, you don't ever allow your dog to try to be protective at all. It's absolutely unnecessary. Next question.
How do I train my dog to stay in the yard off leash?
So there's two ways to go about this. Princess Zena, what are you doing? Here, come over here actually, Zizi. Zizi, come here. Down. Good girl. So there's two ways to do some boundary training. Number one is you could use a leash. Go from a 6-foot leash and you could actually put flags in around your whole yard. You could just walk the perimeter every day. This is what people used to do back in the day. You walk the perimeter, my dog goes too close, I tell him no, I immediately correct and pull him away. Then I do it from a 15-foot leash, 30-foot leash. You could also do the same exact thing with an invisible fence or an e-collar. So I have to have a visual. This is one of the most important things. It's significantly easier to do boundary training with a visual barrier. Right, so if it's just a random line in the grass, it's really difficult for the dog to understand. If there's a flag, or if there's sometimes we use stakes with a draw line between it, then it's easier for the dog to understand. You would just, every time they get near the flag or near the barrier, you give them a warning. They don't listen, you give them a consequence. The consequence could be a firm leash tug, it could be an e-collar stimulation, it could be anything that you want. But you want to keep them on leash no matter which correction that you're using for a great deal of time, weeks if not a month or two. You do not want your dog to fail. That's the biggest thing. Next question.
Will you be bringing back boot camp?
Probably not for now. We have too many people on a waiting list for in-home training sessions and too much success with the in-home training sessions to go back to boot camp training. To be determined though. Cool. Oh no, Eric, this is a question. You forgot to ask this one. We're at 7,999 likes on Facebook. So Vinnie Soma asked the question, when do you think you're going to get to 8,000? Well, it's a great question by Vinnie Soma, and I'm going to have to be very, very straightforward with this. We're going to get to it tonight because people are going to share the page.
Yes.
They're going to invite their friends to like the page. Come on, son! I do this show. They can invite people to like the page. You know what, though? One of my new mottos for 2020 is give without the expectation of getting back.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. All right, invite your friends. All right, next question.
4-year-old Frenchie owner.
Yes,
She
ma'am.
barks at everything, people walking by, dogs walking by, and the doorbell ringing. The wind.
Yeah.
I know you suggested taking them on more walks
Yes.
because this is happening due to them having a lot of energy pent
Good.
up.
Yep.
But it's even worse when we go outside on walks. She
Yes.
barks and tries to run at every dog.
This is where your problem lies. So your problem doesn't lie at the barking, at the wind, and the bark. The problem lies is, why does your dog not pay attention to you? If you go out on a walk and my dog is pulling and my dog is barking and my dog is reacting, guess what your dog cares about? Not you, right? Our dog has zero respect for me at that moment. That's the problem, guys. So if I go on a walk and this is happening, I got to change that first. So what we need to do is we need to get the dog to associate with me. Get rid of the harness. I'm assuming you're probably using harness because it's a French Bulldog and most French Bulldog owners use it. I would use a 2.25 Herm Springer. I would call a professional trainer to show me how to use it. I would keep it up
They're
high.
on the waiting list.
Ooh, wait list. Yeah, we'll get to you. And this is everything. Once you get that control of your dog, then everything's significantly easier from there. Next question.
KT wants help.
Someone just asked a question. How long is the waiting list? I have a new puppy. Should I get on the list now? Yeah, you
Yes.
probably should get on it last week. So the thing about our waiting list, we do trainings at 10:30, 1, 3, and 5:30 every day between me, Rachel, Michelle, and Anthony. So there's more training sessions during the day available than there is evenings and weekends. So you could do weekday, even if it's only on Mondays. You know, you just hey, Vinny, we can only do weekdays. And we'll get you in really quick. But if it's an evening, it takes a little time to get to you. But we'll get to you. And the thing is, once we get there, it's going to be like, oh my God, thank God I waited. Thank God. And I can't tell you how many people say that. If there's any other questions about the waiting list, we'll just refer back to that question. Next question.
Okay, KT needs help with teaching a puppy to not eat poop.
It's
like
disgusting.
The worst.
you have to correct the behavior with a pretty good. So here's the thing: if your dog is eating shit, why are we letting our dog out into the yard to eat shit? He should be on a leash because he can't be controlled at that point. This is one of my least favorite things. So if your dog eats poop and they poop when you're not around, it's your fault because you've let it develop his habit of poop eating. So go out with him. Don't ever let him go for it. When he goes for it, make it stop. You could also, some people talk about putting that pill in their food so they stop eating the poop. They say put the pill in the food to make the poop less appetizing. When is poop appetizing? At what point did you go, man, that's a great looking pile of shit right there, Jay. I can't wait to eat that. Never. Okay, next question. Go out with your dog, KT. Next question.
Okay. How can I get my dog to go down steps inside? He goes down the outside steps fine, but anytime inside, he won't go down.
So he won't go down the steps?
He'll go down outside, but not inside.
So start at the bottom, only go up 2 steps. And if he's small, just pick him up, put him up 2 steps, and bring him down on leash. Praise the heck out of him. Give him a treat immediately. Oh my God. Put him up 3 steps, bring him down. If he's big, just get him up 1 step and make a U-turn and come back. Up 2 steps, U-turn and come back. Take your time, but make the steps a very, very good thing, not a bad thing. And there's no rush to this. But if he's small, if he's less than 70 pounds, this is super easy because you just pick him up, put him on the 2nd step, bring him down, and act like he's the greatest dog of all time. It should take 15 minutes. Next question.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If I mess up your dog's name, I'm sorry. I have been walking Neva, my German Shepherd,
Yeah.
with the training collar.
She was just here for dog class from Ohio. They drove in from Ohio for dog training.
I bought from you guys. If I want to run with her, should I use
The
this
Herm Springer.
collar, or
Yeah.
is it a training purpose only?
So say you guys are going on a run on a sidewalk or a street, you should use your prong collar, you should go for the run. You want your dog controlled because there's other things that are going to be out there. Strollers, people, dogs, people with flexies, the whole 9 yards. You don't want to give them too much freedom. If I go on a run in the woods or I go on a run on hiking, this is where I would actually give my dog a heck of a lot more freedom because there's less things. But also, I want my dog to be able to kind of roam around while we're going through. Sometimes they get skinny, sometimes they get wide, sometimes there's sticks. So you let your dog get a heck of a lot more freedom when you're running on trails. But on the street or sidewalks, you'd still continue to use the collar, give more slack so you're not nudging your dog all the time. Next question.
Layla suddenly got really reactive on the leash yesterday to the point she actually scared me when we passed by one woman.
Okay.
Started growling and barking and nipping at her. Not sure what set her off since she's never ever done something like this. If this happens again, what should I do? I apologize and started
Here's the
walk
thing.
in the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, you could apologize, and it happens, right? Every dog reacts poorly at some point, just like every human's in a bad mood at some point. We just have to correct it and move on. What I would suggest is we have a group class for reactivity this Saturday at Southside Dog Park. I would get her into the car, and make it. Shoot me a text if you can, because that will be huge. I think we only have 3 spots left though, so text me tonight because that will be full by the end of this class. But if your dog does react to another dog, abort the mission. So if I'm on a walk and my dog, let's say I have a reactive dog. If my dog is reactive but is only at like level 1, 2, 3, 4, I can correct, continue to walk, and it's a piece of cake. However, if my dog gets to level 7, 8, 9, I have to immediately remove my dog. So this is where I would walk away from the other dog towards the houses and say, okay, my timing was off because I didn't correct it at the right time. I didn't catch it. I failed. No big deal. We screw up, we do it again. But that's the beautiful thing about dog training is there's always tomorrow. There's always another chance to continue to improve upon your own skills and your dog's skills. Next question.
Posted this on another photo, but I have been looking for a good dog food brand. I have a 4-month-old corgi and a 6-year-old Pomeranian rescue. As soon as I feel as if I've done proper research and confirmed with my vet.
Dude, I'm just going to stop you here because I'm reading this. A lot of people ask me about, so 2 people just texted about group class. There's 3 people that just texted about group class.
Okay, they're full.
So what I would say is, I'm not a food expert by any means, but I do know 2 things. I know that people are full of shit, and that is one of the biggest things that you could bet on. I know that money makes the world go round. I know that vet's going to push a food that they can make money off of. I know other people are going to push food that they can make money off of. What I would suggest is 2 things. I would consult a dog nutritionist because there are a lot out there. I think it's a healthy pet store too. That I forget. I'll get the woman's name and I'll tag her on this, who was of tremendous help. But that's how I would go about this, because to be honest, I'm just as confused as anybody else is. I don't know how to take that the FDA report, but everybody can interpret that their own way. So I appreciate your question, but I'm not the expert, and I don't want to give you an answer and then it not be the best answer for you and your dogs. Next question.
Okay. Any suggestions for a Frenchie? She's completely wonderful, goes to camp weekly with other dogs. When I walk her, she tends to pull me at other dogs and bark. Thank you in advance.
Yeah, so this is the same exact thing as the other one that we were just talking about.
Yep.
So when my dog is pulling, what I would suggest is I would immediately correct the pulling with a training collar. I would scrap the harness. Most people with dogs with restricted breathing feel like what's going to be best for their dog is a harness, right? Because you don't want to use a collar. Like a prong collars look terrifying, right? They're like, oh my God, it's a prong. It's realistically an evenly distributed correction that grabs fat skin. You could put it on yourself and give it a tug and go, wow, is that all that is? I would use that for this dog because I wouldn't allow this dog to continue to pull because it's absolutely unacceptable. Next question.
What will help with separation anxiety? I have a 5-year-old lab, Dane.
Crate
mix.
training. Continue. You're good.
We rescued when he was little. I have never crated him. I know I should have. He gets extremely worked up, starts barking, pacing, crying when we go to leave the house. Sometimes he will even try to squeeze his way through and bolt out the door. He will usually lick a big spot on a blanket or item while we are gone, but does not mess with anything else. We
need to get back to the basics of crate training. So when you have a dog who has separation anxiety, the one thing people go is, well, he hates being in the crate. Yeah, no shit, he hates being left alone. We got to change the association to the crate. I got to get my dog into the crate for feedings, for naps daily while I'm home. I got to get my dog going in there for good things while I'm hanging out, not just when I leave. I would crate my dog when we sleep at night right next to my bed because it's another good association my dog can have with the crate. If the only time my dog goes in the crate when we leave, the dog is going to panic every time. The dog's going to fail every time. So you would go back to crate training to fix the actual problem. Here's the thing. When you're home, crate your dog. People only crate when they leave, but your dog has to learn to be independent from you. What happens is dogs are so clingy. They follow you room to room. They can't be without you. That's not what we want. I want my dog to be confident enough away from me that they can deal with it. And the crate is the easiest way to do that. Make sure you exercise your dog a crap load before you leave your house as well. This will help out tremendously too. Next question.
I have 2 Australian Shepherds. They are 4 and 5.
Love
the
the
younger
breed.
one.
Such a smart dog. They're so much fun to work with. Sorry.
It's okay. The younger one will pull and bark as soon as she's on the leash for at least half the street before she stops barking, but she still pulls. We have the electric fence, so they usually are not on leashes. When I take her to the doggy park, Heartwood Acres, she will bark non-stop from the car to the park. It's so annoying. How can I fix this?
So this is the same thing as, like everybody, when we talk about leash training, what you want to do is, number one, Anytime, dude, Xena is in absolute heaven. She's going to sit here and get her ass pet for the next 30 minutes and be the happiest dog of all time. She's staying here tonight. Her buddies are coming over tomorrow, so that's a beautiful thing. But when you have a dog who's not good on leash, you get back to the basics, right? So when we teach leash training, we take our dog out into the street with no distractions. We put on a training collar, and we do some nice figure eights for the first 4 or 5 minutes. We get our dog comfortable turning with the prong collar, moving, sitting down. Now, the sit is very important. If your dog doesn't sit well, you need to practice that. Like if my dog doesn't sit, boom, 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 that's an issue. It's the easiest command of all time. The dog's going to have that bread and butter. Like it's got to be simple. But we take our leash and we just start doing figure eights. I start changing directions. I make them sit every single time I stop, and I never allow my dog to make a decision. The whole thing about the walk is the second you let your dog have an inch, they take a mile. They're the greatest manipulators on the planet. When you start your walk, your dog doesn't walk out the door until you tell them it's time. Not because you want to be the alpha and you want to be in control in a state of like, oh, this is my... No, because I want to make you wait until I tell you it's acceptable. I want you to actually focus on me than just sprinting out the door. So everything comes back to the training collar, and everything comes back to creating the walk as an obedient session, not as just a free-for-all walk. There's the fourth person to text for group class. Next question.
Okay, I like this one.
Yes.
If you were a dog, what breed would you be?
I mean, I would probably have to say something big and regal. You know what I mean?
German Shepherd.
I was thinking something bigger. I'm a pretty, mentally big guy, so I'm probably going to go with the runt of a Great Dane would probably be, very good. But then again, it would have to be a Newfoundland.
There you go.
Newfoundland. I probably have more hair on my chest than the Newfoundland has on his, so I'm going to go with a Newfie. I absolutely love him. Next question.
Okay.
Yes.
Took Jet for a walk. Did great working on commands. First thing he does when we get back and leash is off is jump up to the dining room table for a box, but I wasn't close enough to grab the training collar. I can yell down and no.
You can't yell down. Down means what? Jay, what's down mean?
Lay down.
Perfect. So if you say down when your dog jumps up and he doesn't go all 4 paws to the, on this, he failed. When your dog is jumping, stop saying down. Or change your down command to something different. But those words screw up. And it seems like such a minor thing, but then your dog fails all of the time.
Right.
All of the time. I'm sorry, continue.
Okay.
Yes.
I can yell down and no forever, and
Yes,
he
ma'am.
will get down but won't stop. I've gated him out of the kitchen because he constantly jumps
It's good. It's
to
good
the
start.
counters, mostly when I am not in the room or my back is to him. I walked him through the kitchen and his collar and leash on, and
Yep.
he will not jump.
Yep.
Penny can does nothing. Help.
Perfect. So the leash works. Why don't I use the leash more? Right?
Right?
So if I have a tool that works, why am I not using it more frequently? Use the leash every time you're in the kitchen. So you baby gated your dog out of the kitchen, which limits mistakes. Great. It's a great start. Now I have to practice getting my dog around in the kitchen with the leash on. No big deal. And people go, it's a burden. Well, it doesn't matter. Your dog needs it. You use what your dog is telling you they need. Right? Just like a human being. You use anything that you absolutely need. Next question.
Okay, we have a big yard. Our 11th-month-old Tucker keeps jumping in the hedges, gets stuck going after the birds. We put a fence up, and he is still doing it. What can we do?
Come here, see. You're in the way.
So it sounds like our 11-month-old Tucker keeps jumping into the hedges and getting stuck going after the birds. They put a fence up, and he's still doing it. What can they do to change the behavior?
Jumping up, going for the birds.
Yeah, into the hedges, and he gets stuck in the hedges.
Interesting. Only 2 options you have at this point. Realistically, the only option is what, Jay? We can put him on a leash so we can actually correct him, or you can use a mini educator e-collar. The problem is I don't want you to just put your dog on an e-collar and go, wham, let me turn this up and just hammer him. That's not how you use an e-collar. That's how they get a bad rap. But I would absolutely suggest correcting this with one of those 2 ways, because there's no other way for you to fix this. Go outside, do training sessions while the distraction is there as well. Be far enough away from the distraction, though. Next question.
Okay, I have a 9-month-old Roddy. We have taken him to Puppy Plus, and 1 obedience training. He is fine with putting our hand in his food, giving and taking away regular bones. He does, however, get a bit aggressive when we give him a smoked/meaty bone. What can we do to make him less aggressive with these types of bones? I'm guessing you're probably going to say to not give them.
So that's a great start, right? I could just say, okay, you'll never get a meaty bone until your behavior is acceptable, because giving you this puts you in a state where I have to correct you. Or you can control it the whole time. So I can give them a meaty bone and hold it, and I can bring out another one and swap it out, where I'm always having somewhat control. The problem is if I give my dog something he's going to possess, and I let go, even if I bring something else out, when I go to reach for this, I have to be aware that my dog is going to possess this, which is one of the worst things of all time. Dogs bite over 3 things the most. It's going to be over people, locations, and food. So it's either protecting a person, protecting a house, or protecting food. Those are all going to be a big time problem. So with this food or this resource guarding, continue to hand feed or continue to mess with his dish. Don't come up and make it like a, oh my God, and bump into him. But yeah, get your hand in the dish, pick up the food, put it down. Love that. Start trading lower value items. And then I would also teach the word out. We use a passive out when we do a lot of our training. I'll show you how this works. So say this is the dog bone, okay? And Jenilee is going to be the dog in this equation. So when I want to practice out, I'm going to go ahead and grab it. She would grab it, and I would play this tug of war game with her. And when I want it, I'm going to bring my hands close and say out, drop, whatever word you want. Well, she won't drop it right away. She's going to keep tugging, keep tugging, keep tugging. And I'm just going to hold tight, but I'm not playing and I'm not pulling back. I just wait. Eventually, my dog gets bored, drops it. Good job. And I give it right back. And I go, hey, listen, if you give me something, I'll give it back. There's a really good video on that on our Facebook and YouTube page. I would watch that. The out command is one of the most important things. I use out for a lot, right? After I'm done with a training session, if my dogs come near me because I might have more kibble around me, I'll immediately say out, and they go, okay, cool. And they just bail. They're like, all right, we're definitely done with the training session. Get away from them. So I would also teach that. You can't teach that with a high-value bone, though. You teach that with something different, and then you transfer it over to the high-value bone. Next question.
Okay, I'm going to get this right.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old Alaskan Malamute.
Yeah, Malamute. Yeah.
Okay, so the T silent?
Malamute.
Malamute, so it's not silent.
Yeah.
Okay. That is an absolute nightmare to take to the vet. She does great for strangers, both adult and children, on our walks. Allows people into our home with no aggression. It's only the vet when we enter to the exam room. She's fine in the waiting room. I believe it stems from a visit where a tech was noticeably uncomfortable around my dog during a visit and attempted to muzzle her, which went horribly. We've tried to do happy visits to desensitize, but she still will not relax once in the exam room. Do I continue to do the happy visits at the current vet's office, or should I start over at a new vet and start the process over again?
I like starting in a new vet, but I also like muzzle training the dog, so I don't want the vet to put the muzzle on. What I don't want to do is go to the vets and have them jam a muzzle on when my dog is already stressed, my dog is panicked. If I muzzle train my dog and do happy visits to the vet, my dog there's 2 things that are now way less stressful for my dog. People feel bad about putting muzzles on dogs. I muzzle train all of my dogs. They don't ever need it. But what happens if maybe they're injured and a vet is like going near them and I'm like, oh God, I'm going to need the muzzle because I don't want my dog to freak out and do something wrong. So guess what? You get muzzle trained. No big deal. You walk into my house right now with a muzzle. Thurman will have drool from here to the ground because he's like, dude, that means chicken. It's the greatest thing ever. You can trick them. So muzzle train the dog. Continue to go to the vet. If you want to restart, down. Oh, nice. I get the correct Xena on TV. No. See, what happens here is this is a prime case where one person has rules and one person lets her get away with absolute murder.
That's not true.
That's not true. It's 100% true. So now I need a baseball bat for whack, 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 whack. But yeah, that's how I would go. There's nothing wrong with restarting at a new vet, though, to get a new experience. Listen, if you're not in love with them, do you know how many vets there are? Do you know how many clients that I have who travel 45 minutes for a vet? I'm like, man, you have 2 vets down the road. Yeah, but I like this one. All right, cool. That's it. That's all it takes. You're going to go to the vet once a year. If you don't like them, find a new one. There's 1,000. An absolute 1,000. Next question.
Okay. Our 6-month-old GSD puppy is doing great with her training with Anthony.
Love it. Good. Great breed, too.
She has come so far, and we have all gained so much confidence. Mm-hmm. She is great with our 2 young children during playtime. However, when she is asleep in her crate or her bed, she will get startled by the kids in her...
What do we say? Vicinity.
Or if they approach her, and at times will growl. She seems especially scared when they get near the crate. She doesn't retaliate or snap, but I wonder if there are if they are scaring her because she has never growled when awoken by any adult. Is there anything we can do to work on this, or should we just continue to teach the kids to leave her be and shut the crate door?
All right, so two things.
Everybody hates my reading.
Well, dude, you got to make this bigger. Because look, this is what it looks like when you're screen. Our 6-month-old
print from my
GSD.
phone today, guys. I printed from the computer, and it's super small.
Our 6-month-old German Shepherd dog puppy is doing great. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. I'll fine-tune everything. I fine-tune everything as we go. It gets better every time. But this is a big time thing, right? So there's two things. Number one, I don't know how old your kids are. I know you said they're young children, but if they're old enough to understand to not approach the dog while on the bed for right now and not approach the dog while in the crate, that would be absolutely phenomenal. If not, that's going to be on you, and you're going to have to manage the situation completely. Number two, I got to put a hat on. It's bad. I see it in the camera. Number two, you want to make sure that you're continuing. Like, if your dog's on its bed, you want to go, whatever your dog's name, Fluffy, and walk over towards them. Good. As soon as they wake up and get alert, you want them to think that you walking towards them is a good thing. Do a quick little training session. Sit, down, treat, walk away, right? But you make them pay attention to you on the way over. So they're sleeping, Fluffy, good job, sit, good job. I want my dog to think, hey, if somebody walks towards me when I'm laying down, or if somebody walks towards me while I'm sleeping, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Now, I never want anyone, minus mom and dad for now, to approach the puppy while sleeping until we fix this problem. Here's another thing. The kids can only give the dog affection when the dog comes to them. That's fine. The puppy goes to the kids all the time. There's just a few different occasions where the puppy doesn't go to them. That's all the occasions that happens is when he's sleeping. So practice that a lot. I like the hand feeding. I like feeding into the crate as well, especially if I can't watch. If I can and I have 15 minutes, I love hand feeding for a dog like this. Put him down a lot, walk towards him a lot, and get him used to you walking towards him. Place is a good exercise for this dog too, because you're always coming back to him for a good reason. Next question.
When walking my 7-month-old puppy, we will get halfway on our walk, then she starts jumping and nipping me nonstop. I try to refocus her. Anything else to help? Yeah.
So refocus is a different word, right? So if my dog is jumping up on me, refocusing is not the thing that I would try to do. I would correct the jumping and use the energy for something more productive, right? So there's two trains of thought on this. If my dog is jumping and nipping, you could ignore the behavior, but the problem is it happens every time. I can ignore something that happens once in a blue moon or that has absolutely zero effect on my life. For instance, if I walk into a house and my dog gets excited, I'm never going to correct him for being excited. But if he jumps up or starts to bite my arm, I can't ignore that. But if it happened once a month, okay. But if it happens every day, I can't ignore that. This is where learned behaviors come into play, right? And that's all this is a learned behavior. So if my dog starts to jump up on me, I'm immediately going to turn quickly, give a firm leash correction, walk 2 steps, tell him sit, and immediately start changing directions a few times. So he's like, whoa, Vinny, what the heck do you want me to do all of a sudden? Because now he's like, damn, this was different. I would try to do this a few times before my dog starts to screw up as well, so I can get his attention before he starts to make the mistake. Everything that you guys do is easier, or everything that your dog does wrong, it's easier to fix when there's limited distractions, when there's limited stimulus. So practice first in your first 5 minutes of the walk, and then do it again when he starts to jump up and nip. Next question.
Not really a dog training question. How far ahead do you book appointments? Looking to schedule
Same thing.
with you in the
Weekdays, easy. So we just answered this question. That's why I'm going to follow through. Weekdays, easy. We schedule at 10:31, and everything's different. But 10:31, 3, and 5:30. We all typically have 4 appointments a day, and a couple of us work on Saturdays as well. So it just depends on your availability and location. Shoot us an email. We'll kind of give you the breakdown on everything. Thank you. Next question.
Okay. I have a 4-month-old.
I used to play hockey with this guy, Scotty McKee. Good dude. Great family too. Sorry. Next question. Good guy.
I've had my 4-month-old blue stickhound.
Jenny did better with the Malamute than she did with my Airedales. Airedale?
Stop it.
That's what someone said.
That's not nice, guys. Okay. I've had my 4-month-old blue tick hound for a little over 2 weeks now. She is still freaking out when I crate her to go to work or to bed. She eats snaps, goes to her crate all the time when I am in the room with her, but as soon as I leave, she goes nuts.
Okay, this is great. So it's a 4-month-old dog who needs a lot of just basic minimal training for the crate. What you're going to do is you're going to put your dog into the crate, you're going to walk into the other room, he's going to panic, and you're going to wait. He's going to freak out. No big deal. He'll bark, he'll bark, he'll bark. He's going to give you a 15-second gap at some point. You walk into that room during the 15-second gap. You open up the crate, nothing from you. A lot of people open up the crate. Good job. Nothing. It is no big deal. If I freak out and reward my dog for as soon as I let him out of the crate, now it's a party for coming out, which means now there's extra stress for going in. I want to treat the going in like it's the greatest thing of all time. The coming out, no big deal. I also want to practice this. Like, so for me, my man Scott, I would put my dog on a leash. I would take a handful of kibble, 20 treats or 20 pieces of kibble. I would walk my dog to the crate. Kennel, he goes in there. Good boy. Treat, free, come out. Kennel, walk him in there. Sit, he sits in there. Treat, wait 5 more seconds. Treat, 5 more seconds. Free, come out. And I would continue to go through this until my dog starts to get a little bit more comfortable. I love that you're feeding him in there. It's huge. I love that. Oh, dude, with your sister's dog, we did place. This kennel exercise is the same as place. They're the same exact thing. But I would go through this process to where not only am I putting my dog in the crate for feeding and for bedtime and nap time, but also for a training session too. Only let him out when he is 100% calm. Sometimes it's hard because they freak out for 5, 10, 15 minutes straight. No big deal. We're going to take our time. He's 4 months old. He's going to get used to it. But you just can't ever let him out. It's like a sin. You let him out one time when he freaks out, it validates his behavior, right? It's like a kid. When they fall down and they cry, and you rush to him when he's okay, it validates the behavior. Then you get a bunch of whiny little brats who grow up entitled, and it's terrible. So, next question.
I would love info on training the lay down command.
Mm-hmm.
I began the command after a successful sit, but used hand commands in front of the nose to guide the pup down. She will not complete the command verbally and now is overeager for the treat, aka biting my hand when trying to guide her down.
Mm-hmm.
This has been happening for several weeks and I'm not sure if she's regressing or how to continue.
So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to take a 3-day break from down. I want you to completely distress, don't worry about it. You're going to come back to it in 3 days. When we come back to it in 3 days, there's 2 things I want. If your dog is overeager about the treat, stop putting the treat in your hand. You can still guide with your hand, but stop putting the treat in your hand. Sometimes there's too much. My dog gets too aroused and too excited when I go down with a treat and they try to bite it real quick. If that's happening, cool. Take a break. Here's my dog. I'll take my hand and I'll say down. Now, maybe I put my hand in my pocket so it stinks like a food and I go down. My dog tries to sniff the hand. They go down. Perfect. I give them a treat. I would also practice this on your dog bed. You'd be surprised by how much easier it is to get your dog to lay down on a surface that is kind of wobbly, right? Because now it's more comfortable for me to lay down than it is to stand. But the big thing I want you to do is know your dog's not regressing. It's a puppy and it's okay. Take a couple day break though, right? Because you're freaking out over it, which makes everything that much harder. Yeah. Good question though. I want an update in 3 days. We'll post it on our page. Don't let me down. Next question.
How do I get my dog to not react to other animals, rodents, and stray
rodents.
cats?
Jesus, where do you live? Where there's rodents?
We practice with other dogs.
You ever see a rodent?
And people.
On a walk?
And
what is a rodent?
I don't know.
Like a rat? Mice? Is a gerbil a rodent? I thought it was a vermin. Is a vermin a rodent?
I guess it depends on what you classify as a rodent.
Okay.
Okay, now I gotta start over. How do I get my dog to not react to other animals, rodents, and stray cats? We practice with other dogs and people and does well, but how do you work on something unexpected? We used to live in a fenced-in yard where he caught several groundhogs, so he loves the chase.
Nice, yeah, and that's not a bad thing, right? So my dog has an extremely high prey motivation, which is fine. I just need to be able to turn it off on a dime. How do you turn it off on a dime? And this is great. What I would do is I would go to the closest park that has squirrels, and I would find the distance of which I could practice this. So when you go to a park that has a boatload of squirrels, you get a lot of practice, but I'm going to try to stay on the outskirts of the park, and I want to stay 15 to 20 feet away from the squirrels. What I'm going to try to correct is not pulling or lunging. I'm going to try to correct fixation. So a dog like this, they fixate, right? They see a squirrel moving, and this is what happens to the body. It all comes up like this, the chest, the head rolls over, and the eyes just stare at it. You want to stop it before it gets to that point. So as soon as my dog goes like this and starts to go like this, boom, tell them no, they're not going to stop. This is why we use a training collar, we correct. The training collar gives our verbal warning actual meaning. Most people, most dog owners say no with no consequence. Why would I ever listen? If the teacher continues to say, hey, settle down in class, hey, settle down in class, but no one ever, they never give you attention if you screw up. Why would I ever settle down in class? If there's no consequence, I'm not going to listen. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take a treat and lure the dog up to you to fixate on you, because your dog prefers to kill a squirrel over you having raw meat in your hand. When you have a dog with high prey motivation, you should never bribe a dog to begin with, but you never bring food out first. Because what does he want more? He gets more aroused by killing a squirrel or a groundhog than he does by the raw meat in my hand. So this is where a correction would come into play. So that's how I would go about it. Then I would also do an obedience session with the squirrels 20, 30 feet away and get closer and closer and closer until eventually I can walk when I know there's squirrels around by 3 feet, 5 feet. If I go on a walk and I can't pass a squirrel that I see from 5 feet away, I'm never going to be good enough to pass that squirrel from 10 feet away that's unexpected. It has to be perfect or near perfect in a controlled environment for it to be very good in a non-controlled or overexcited, aroused environment. Does that make sense? That goes for almost any reactive dog in almost any situation possible. Next question.
Okay. Have you ever thought about putting your practices out in another way than classes?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, I guess instead of just group classes?
We do in-home sessions.
He does YouTube videos. That's putting your practice.
Yo, I did a Skype session. I did 2 this past week. One in North Carolina and one in, God bless it, Washington. So two training sessions on Skype. You know what I was crazy about the Skype session? I was surprised how good I was via Skype. And the reason is because it's weird. It's weird training.
So you're just sitting there.
Well, no, I was walking because I couldn't take it. I'm like, all right, let's go on a walk. I was walking around my house as she's walking. I'm like, all right, say heel and turn, because I couldn't sit there. You know what I mean? Dude, my grandpa used to play Tetris on Super Nintendo, right? So my grandpa would play Tetris on Super Nintendo, and this just made me think of this. And when he was getting a piece in, like, he would go left. Oh, my God. Oh, God. You know, that was me while I was training this dog. Like, hey, heel and turn. I couldn't just sit there and watch it happen. One of the coolest things. Actually, one of my favorite memories of all time. Next question.
Is there anything you could do for a dog that gets car sick besides drive super slow?
The driving super slow doesn't affect it at all. The 2 things that affect the car, 3 things. Number 1, your location. Number 2, the duration. So if I only go to the vet, it's never going to be good because my dog is anxious about where we're going because it stinks. The duration, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, great. Also start to put your dog in the car every day. Sometimes just hang out in the driveway, back out of the driveway, go back in. It takes 25 minutes every day to fix this, but it takes every single day for 3 or 4 weeks, and your dog's going to be completely fine. Once my dog is calm while we're hanging out, then I'll back out of the driveway and go down to the house and come back in. Wait 5 minutes, do the same thing. Once we've done this a few times with good success, guess what? Now I'll drive 5 houses and come back, right? But here's the problem. People go, man, Vinny, that's kind of a pain in the ass. It's going to take a long time. No crap, guys. When you have a dog who's dealing with something like this, just imagine the human perspective of this, right? For me, I am petrified of heights. Petrified, right? I don't like heights. I don't like looking over railings, and I'm not going to get over this in 5 minutes. I'm just not going to. I have to do it frequently. Next question.
I like this one. I don't think we've ever had it.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend any books for first-time dog owners or / in general?
Yeah, I recommend a few different things. What I really like, for me, I'm not a reader, so I listen to audiobooks, which is absolutely awesome. But I love anything from Learbird Kennels they're awesome, right? Learbird Kennels is a pretty cool website. There's like 35,000 dog training articles on there. All our staff watches a lot of their videos because they have great videos. Michael Ellis, everybody on there. So for me, they have online courses that you can take, not just for dog trainers, but just for dog owners to challenge themselves for things like that. So that's what I would recommend. LeerBurg.com. That's how I would go. Check that out. And then shoot me a text and go, Vinny, you're a genius. I like this guy. He's almost as good as you are. Next question. Actually, he's the best. He's good. I mean, he's as good as it gets. Then again, he's been doing it for 39 years. Next question.
How long is your current wait list for one-on-ones?
Weekdays easier.
Clients?
So yeah, we've answered this a couple times. Yeah. Weekdays easier. Evenings and weekends, a little bit of wait. Shoot us a text. Next question.
This isn't about dog training.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use whitening toothpaste to get those amazing?
I gotta be
curls?
honest. So here,
Like,
I got a
what?
question for my, can I call them fan base? Dude, so I was out to eat one time, and she's probably watching this, which is going to be unbelievable. So I was out to eat on a Saturday with my friends. They were home from, I think it was right before Thanksgiving or Christmas. And so I'm out to eat, and the waitress, super nice lady, one of the nicest waitresses I've ever had. She goes, "Hey, do you know who you look like?" And I'm like, "Who's that?" She goes, "Have you ever heard of Say It Once Dog Training?" I go,
Stop.
"Hi, I'm Vinnie. I own Say It Once Dog Training." Dude, straight red. "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. I watched your show." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. That was one of the coolest things of all time." So we'll call it a fan base. We have a fan base, right? You guys are a fan base. Heck yeah. I love you guys. You guys are the absolute best. That's why we continue to do this. We'll be at episode number 70 by the end of the year, believe it or not. That's crazy. Crazy. But where was it going? Oh, whitening toothpaste. Yeah, to be honest, dude, I've gone through 3 toothpastes in the past 2 months. So I was using Crest. Why the heck are we talking about toothpaste? But I was using Crest Crest whitening toothpaste, but it would make my mouth super dry. Then I went to Colgate, it made my mouth even more dry. Then I went to Tom's, and it's okay. I just don't know how good it is compared to other stuff. So for me, if you guys have a toothpaste recommendation, I would love that. I actually just got a text from my dentist today that I have to come in for a cleaning. So that's always sucks too. Next question.
Okay. Do you use your dog?
I just went on a tangent.
I'm going to skip that one.
Yeah.
What is the best reaction if your dogs get into a fight over resources?
So if your dogs are fighting over resources, yeah, Jay, yeah. Oh, you always tell her what to do. You always give her command, and then we pet her and we hug her after she makes, no, come here. Yeah, you're in trouble. You're not allowed to stay here anymore. Come on. You're not allowed to stay here. You're in trouble.
It's because she
Down.
loves me.
So you guys that are like, okay, I love Jenilee. Greatest human being that is in this room minus me, okay? If say you're in the same house, you're in a family, right? And your husband or your wife breaks the rules.
Yeah, but you're the pack leader, so I
Doesn't matter, Jay. Doesn't matter.
Her.
No, that's not how it should be. We should all be on the same page. This is what I did. I had no idea. Now, Jenelee's had a few sleepovers, and all of a sudden, guess what? Rules go out the window.
That's not true.
I know. I'm just giving
She
you a hard time.
listens to me when it's just me and her.
She just loves Jenilee so much. And here's the thing. I brought Xena today, and as soon as I get out of the car, she's like, she does her little scrunchy face. "I'm at the doghouse. I'm excited." Like, oh my God. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
She doesn't even like coming home with me anymore. I might just leave her here now.
Okay, bye.
She's not even my dog. Dogs fighting over resources. This is a problem, right? If your dog is fighting over resources, stop giving them the resources and the ability to fight. This is a huge problem. So say my dogs fight over food. They're both in a kennel when they eat. It solves the problem. If they fight over good chew bones, high value chew bones, they're both in the kennel. If they're fighting over me, this is where it becomes a really, really difficult problem. This is where we do a crate and rotate system. This is where we do a muzzle system or leash in the house. And I am so strict because I've seen the worst of the worst. It takes a split second for an animal who's made a mistake 5 times in a row to go, "I'm going to take this to the next level." You have to stop it immediately. But if it's food, if it's bones, it's so simple. Just crate your dog. Go get 2 crates. And people, get 2 crates. Feed them in a crate. The bowls come out. The crate doors get closed when and they're not allowed to go in each other's crates. They have their own crate, and that's the end of it. So that's how you would go about that. It's really, really simple. If it's something that you can't get rid of, though, then you need to start using leashes in the house, and you have to start challenging. If my dog is, when I say challenging in a mental way of what is theirs and what is not theirs. If they're fighting over resources, they believe it's theirs, and it's not. It's mine. I'm just sharing it with you. Next question.
Would you consider having a doggy pool party this summer and invite Jazzy?
No, I don't have a pool. My parents have a pool, but it's not mine, so I can't invite people. Next question.
People want to know how to pronounce my name. It's pronounced Jenilee. Jenilee.
I've been saying it wrong for 4 years.
Everybody pronounces it Jenilee. I do not correct it. I will answer it.
Say it again.
It's Jenilee.
Jenilee.
Yeah, all one word.
I've known you for 5 years.
Ilee. Yes.
Jenilee.
Jenilee.
Do I say it right or wrong?
Say it.
Jenilee.
No, say it wrong. It's Jenilee.
Not changing.
Okay.
You guys remember the penguin who wanted his name changed after a year? It's not happening here. Next question.
Okay, last question. Are you ready?
Yep. Last one.
Yep. How do I create a better bond with my dog?
This is a great question, right? And all of dog training comes down to a bond to begin with. Dog training is a relationship between me and my dog. And when our relationship is unhealthy, my dog has behavioral problems. It's the easiest way to put it. How do I create a better bond? I have to be a leader. You have to be a follower. I have to teach you and show you what you should be doing at all times. If I go to work and no one gives me direction, if no one tells me what to do at a certain period, I'm going to be, Simone, you're right. No, it wasn't him. I'm going to be in a bad way, right? So what I want for my dog is I want to be the one, almost like a captain, a coach, to show you, hey, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to set 5 sessions a day or 3 sessions a day for 10 minutes apiece, where I train you one-on-one. I put my headphones in, or I just focus on you. I don't focus on anything else because I want it just to be me and you. When I train my dogs, it's me and you. Me and Thurman, then Thurman goes to place. Me and Xena, then Xena goes to place. Me and Trigger for a few minutes because of the old bear. But it's me and you. I love separating my dogs, and I love having one-on-one time. The next thing that I would do is I would go on individual walks every day. Your dog loves walks. That's what people forget how important the walk is for the dog. They don't want to be cooped up in a crate all day. And you go, I don't crate my dog, but you put him in a house for 23 and a half hours a day. That's a big ass crate. He's got to get out there. He's got to see the world. You got to show him. And you're going to be the one to show him. I would take him new places and take him on field trips. I would teach him new things. And most importantly, I would keep him accountable. And that's the biggest thing. He needs to know where he stands all the time so he feels confident about what he's doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys so much for your questions. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch, because this means that we're going to be, once again, more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
We're going to work with our dogs more frequently. You guys are the absolute freaking best. I love you. Thank you guys for sharing our page. Hopefully, Anthony Manning called me. He's fired. But hopefully you guys share with your friends and family and invite them to like our page on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Have a great night.
Yeah, and remember, properly trained humans could be a dog's best friend.